My first guest for my first episode is Mr. Motaba Akbari of Moje. He has been the journal director for Starbucks in Russia and then journal manager plus managing director for Starbucks in Greece and Cyprus. How you started and why coffee?
I think coffee actually chose me, not I. And I started actually working for Starbucks in 1991. It was a year before they went public.
Okay, I was 7 years old. Do you remember so far how many outlets you would have opened?
For definite, 70 for Greece and Cyprus, 147 at the time in Russia.
Wow. Are you serious about that? You're crossing about 1,000 mark already.
Absolutely, because
Moja, there's always a misconception. I'm sure a lot of viewers would have the same question. I definitely have that. We all believe that the food and the coffee business is highly profitable, 300, 400% margins here and there. Is it really true that these businesses are profitable?
I can understand the misconception because
So what do you suggest? Location, brand, or the food quality? What is most important out of these three if you have to pick one?
and your marketing and your staffing and training, I don't think you can eliminate
Do people really order coffee at home? Even for coffee?
for coffee. Specifically for coffee.
If people already have the historical data of restaurants failing in 18 months, don't these restaurants do their research and then launch?
They've got some money either from shareholders or through different investments or their own money. And they think, I would be very successful if I open this restaurant.
Hello everybody, you're listening to Gaurav Oberoi. I have been the founder for INC Academy and a couple of other startups. And over the last 15 years of my journey, I have met some amazing professionals from different industries, different backgrounds who have been doing some awesome work in their industry and have grown from bottom to the top and have achieved a lot of success in their career. And on public demand, I know you have been asking for this since a very long time and it has been due from my side. So I'm starting this series of Go Talks, Gaurav Oberoi Talks. I am going to talk, not only I'm going to talk, and I'm going to get awesome guests along with me who will be sharing their experiences and their journey and a lot of stuff which you don't know or which you already had the questions in your mind about. Together we will be listening to our first guest in the first episode. This guy has been the coffee person. I'm sure you all drink coffee. I'm sure you're often asked at various places, which coffee do you want? And we all look at the menu. At times we don't know what to order. We just pick what our friends are ordering, or we just pick what sounded us or looked or what tasted good in our last experience. My first guest for my first episode is Mr. Motaba Akbari of Moje. He has been the journal director for Starbucks in Russia and then journal manager plus managing director for Starbucks in Greece and Cyprus. After that, he moved to the Middle East as the COO for Americana Group. And in Americana Group, he was looking at Krispy Kremes, Costa Coffee. He has all these lovely brands which you and I have been buying. And lately, he has taken an amazing position as an entrepreneur, a consultant who is consulting brilliant coffee companies in the region who want to either scale up or businesses which want to enter into the region. All these startups, all the amazing coffee businesses which you see, this guy is a brain behind those startups. So without spending a lot of time and giving more introduction about this genius person, I call him the coffee man. I would want Moji, you're most welcome into the first episode and thank you for joining in. Please, if you can let us know how you started, what did you do, and what your journey has been, and why coffee?
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for inviting me to your first episode of Go Talks. Really excited to be here and such a warm welcome. I started actually, I think coffee actually chose me, not I. I educated in England. Obviously, childhood was back home in Iran. And revolution happened and all that. I left Iran for UK to study there. I actually did electronic engineering.
Oh, you're an engineer.
And a postgraduate. My parents were very happy because they wanted, as a typical parents, you either have to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer or something. So I did that. And the journey took me to Canada, and I spent a couple of years with my brothers in Montreal, and decided to move to a kind of warmer weather in Canada, if you may say so. It's different in here,
Wow.
obviously. So I moved to Vancouver. In Vancouver, I was a bit lost. You know, you just finished education, you did what you wanted to do, but it wasn't really the love of what you wanted to do. So I ended up in the food business, and I started actually working for Starbucks in 1991. It was a year before they went public.
Okay, I was 7 years old.
Yes, that shows the age. And I started as an assistant manager in one of the stores, which was one of the busiest store on Robson Street. It's a street which was very busy with restaurants, cafes, and also shopping. So that's really when I came across coffee the first time, and I loved what I was doing. The biggest thing was we were in the store all the time, knew us. We were actually the Facebook of the time. Before Facebook became, because we knew the name of the customer, we knew the name of, their fish, if they had a fish at home, or their pet. There was a big connection between us and the customer. And the customer came to see us actually, and they bought a coffee. And hence the Starbucks conversation of the Starbucks being in people business serving coffee, and not in coffee business serving people.
Wow,
It
that's
was
interesting.
really fundamentally we were there to provide the experience. So Vancouver assistant manager, and then I became a store manager and carried on career there to a district manager role. Moved to Toronto market, that's back on the East Coast again, to open a Starbucks there with a group of colleagues. So on behalf of the company, obviously, we were in Toronto for about 18 months. We opened many stores, and I think one of the milestones was to open at the time 5 stores in one day, which we opened in January, and then we opened another 5 in February on the same day. That was quite a bit of pressure at the
Wow.
time, but we did. And joined Starbucks International in 1999.
Wow.
And Starbucks was just planning to open the first store in Middle East, in Kuwait, with Al Shaya Group. And I became a market consultant. The title was new, the job was new, so I would travel back and forth between Vancouver and Middle East. And work with different teams in Al Shaya to set up the business. And fast forward out of Middle East, many markets, many countries in Middle East. I ended up moving to Greece as a managing director for our franchisee business, Magnopolis. So I was in charge of stores in Greece and Cyprus. I stayed there for 3.5 years during the Olympics, actually. And one day, one of the Starbucks senior people, who was my boss at the time, came in and said, "What about Russia? We want to open Russia." And so I said, he says nobody wants to go there, and Napoleon hasn't won Russia, neither the Germans. So I'm not sure the success rate is so high. I said, okay, I want to do it then. I love the challenge part of it. So I went to Russia, I stayed there for 13 years as a general director, and we registered the brand and opened the stores there. And then we opened Kazakhstan, probably about a month before COVID, which impacted everybody's life pretty much. We decided to leave Russia, and my next assignment was in Kuwait. We ended up in Dubai for 5 days. It was March 6th. March 11th, so 5 days really wasn't finished in Dubai yet, that the COVID was a huge pandemic and it was across the world. Basically, the airports closed, we ended up staying in Dubai.
Okay.
And so Dubai was also by accident. So I worked for